Hello and welcome to RC Model Reviews. I promised to do a comparison between the RVJet and the Hobby King Go Discover. Now, the two very similar looking models, FPV models, flying wings, but are they really that similar? Is this a knockoff of that? And how different is the quality? What will the performance be like? So let's start. I've already shown you what was in the box in the RVJet, but we'll do some side by sides. You notice, and immediately I noticed that this is a smaller box. It's smaller in height, and it's a little bit narrower in width. Let me pull this into shape so you can see. And you can see it is a smaller box. So I'll open it up. We're not going to unbox it, but I'll have a look and we'll compare the quality of some of the bits. The first thing you'll notice, of course, is that this is the instructions for the Hobby King Go Discover. It's sort of what you kind of expect these days for a low-cost model. It's got pictures in it. See, I'll hold it up so you can see it's got pictures in it. They're black and white pictures. It seems reasonably comprehensive, but it certainly doesn't compare to the Range Video RVJet Flying Wing, which, as I showed you in a previous video, is full of lovely, colourful diagrams, pictures, and so forth, making the build really quite simple. So that's your Hobby King. That's your RVJet. Whether you think instructions are important or not, well, that's something you have to work out for yourself. Now, the RVJet, as you can see, is uncoloured. It's got no transfers, no stickers. It's very, very basic. It's really nice moulding, nice moulded foam. I'll try and get some light on that so you can see. Very shiny, good surface finish, but it is basically not dollied up with transfers. The Hobby King one, well, as you can see, it does have a lot of transfers. It's as I say, I'm not trying to do an unboxing here, but I did want to be able to do some basic comparisons. Oh, this is getting hard work now. It's all taped together. Okay, so there we go. There is the wing for the Discover. As you can see, it's got lots of brightly coloured transfers on the bottom. This one is the plug and fly, so it's got the servos installed. That's a nice touch because, I don't know, I'm finding less and less time available for building. The wing size, as you can see, this is a slightly wider cord. This is a narrower cord. Remember, the RVJet has two configurations. There is a short wing and a long wing. You can change them to suit. And so, you can decide whether you want the short wing for more maneuverability and better speed, or the long wing for better endurance, albeit it'll fly more slowly. The Go Discover only has the one configuration. It's just, this is it, basically. Now, here's something interesting to compare. Here's the wing, the spar, the wing tube for the Hobby King unit is pultruded, and that just means basically all the carbon, I think is it carbon? Yeah, it looks like it's carbon. All the carbon fibers run the same direction along the length of the tube, and that means that these tend to split. If you have a lot of stress, they will split, and then once they've split, they're useless. I noticed that the wing spar for the RVJet is made up of carbon composite. Hold them up so you can possibly see. I hope the camera's going to focus on this. There we go. The bottom one, this is the Hobby King one at the bottom. This is the RVJet. I hope you can see that there's actually a weave in there. This has got carbon twills, so this won't split. Basically it's a much better quality carbon tube. They're about the same diameter, but it's a much better quality carbon tube. And again, as I say, the RVJet's a very expensive piece of kit, but it's what you'd expect. You pay more money, you get something that's a little bit better, but does it really matter? I mean, are you going to be better off with one of these or one of these? I guess it depends. Everyone would love to drive a Ferrari, but most of us can only afford a Toyota. So let's have a look. And of course, then there is this knockoff issue. Is it really a knockoff, or is it just inspired by? That's one of the things that we have to sort of try and work out. But it does look, it's a very similar concept, a very similar concept indeed. And even when you get into the actual bits and pieces, which is the centre body of the jet. Here is the Go Discover, and this, as I say, it's a plug and fly, so it's got the motor fitted with the folding prop. There's your central thing. There's your bubbly dome up here, and I'll be looking closely at those bubbly domes, seeing which ones actually are the best, because I'm not really a great fan of bubbly domes, to be totally honest. Your FPV cameras don't produce a lot of drag, so you don't need to hide them away in a big fat bubble. And the bubbles, all they do is create a whole lot of reflection inside the aircraft, which makes it harder to get decent video and decent tracking. Now let's take this out, do the compare. Surprisingly enough, despite the There we go. They are pretty similar, you have to admit. It's you know, anyone who says that, oh, there goes my phone, always does when I'm videoing. It's hard to really say that there's no comparison because they're very, very similar from that regard. Now, the RVJet has a more complicated dome setup by the look of it. I'm not too sure. Have to have a look at that. But obviously there is a lot of stuff in there that I've got to put in. The people from RVJet sent me this one. It's all, this is plug and fly, but this has sort of got all the bits. So I just have to put it together, which is great. Now there is a plastic keel under here for the RVJet. And is there one for the, no, it's got a kind of a molded piece of clear plastic on here on the bottom for landing and launching. So yeah, it's similar, I suppose. It's really, got to admit, there's really not a lot to, you know, there's nothing that makes me say, oh, this is definitely better, or this is definitely crap at this stage. So I don't know how I'm going to get that back in there. So there you go. What do you choose? Which one's for you? I can't tell you that, at least not yet. I can tell you that they're very similar. And they're not, it's not a knockoff, it's not a direct copy. You know, you only have to look at the wing to see that. There's a significant difference in the wing. So it's not a direct copy. They haven't just taken one and made molds to produce exactly the same thing over at Hobby King. It is a different model. The concept is the same, but this is, I mean, it's not dissimilar to the X8 or the Buffalo and a whole lot of other models like this, which are flying wings. So really deciding which is going to be the one you should buy, it's going to take a bit more work on my part. I'm going to have to put these together. I'm going to have to fly them and check out stuff like just how good are those little bubbly domes, because as I said, not a fan of the bubbly domes. Now this has got the one from RVJet's got a nice camera mount with the pan and tilt, and apparently this has too. So we'll just try it out and see how well they work. Okay, so there we go. That's a sort of a comparison side by side of the boxes and what's in them really. I just wanted to give you a taster, and also that serves a purpose because now I'm going to have to put these together because I can't move unless I do. The workshop, the studio is now eye full of boxes of flying FPV wings. So there we go. Actually, to be honest, I don't think there's going to be a build video for this because I'm just getting so spoilt by these systems where you just plug things together and screw them together. I mean, there's no build, it's just assemble. It really is so good these days. I mean, this is not going to take me more than a few minutes to put together this model. This is the Go Discover. I'm so impressed with the way things go together, but to be honest, the quality on the Go Discover here is what I expected for a $100 wing. I'll show you. Perhaps you can see the gaps there, the gap where it goes together, and also I'll turn it around so you can see the front here. The alignment, here's the leading edge of the wing. Now see the alignment here, this is a bit lower than that. It's little things, but that's why this doesn't cost $200 and something, I suppose, because, you know, attention to this kind of detail costs money. The RVJet, I expect much better quality when I put that together, and it looks like it's going to, but, you know, and there's other things like on the wing here, I don't know if you can see or try and get the light. There's scuffs and dings. It's, you know, what I've come to expect. These aren't cosseted in the factory. No, they're on this wing. There's actually some, see if I can get the light on there. It's a bit difficult with a big plane in a small room. There's a sort of a fault runs through here on the foam. It's just not a patch on the RVJet foam, but hey, $100, well, $130, I can't remember what I paid for it, but yeah, it is what you pay for. Wing retaining is via these little catch things here. It's quite a nice touch. It's customized. Will it go in? It's got a bit of flashing on it. Maybe, I wonder if it'll go in properly. Oh, nearly dropped it. Let's try this one first. It's going to have to be a bit of pushing and squeezing going on here so that everything lines up. But, oh, yeah, I mean, this is the difference between $100 and $200. It all works, just it's a little bit more effort required on the part of the builder. There you go. It does require some pushing, and it's a 90-degree turn. That means it's going to be very easy to take this wing apart when you're traveling, but you want to stick it in your vehicle, but my goodness, the tolerances are not good. I'm not going to be able to do this on camera because I'm going to have to put a lot of pressure on this. Got 3 of these hold-ons, and this last one, man, it's really, really hard. So, yeah, I'll get it in, but I wouldn't want to be changing these every time I went out to fly, so I want to be able to transport it in one piece. They are really hard to get in, and probably hard to get out as well. No matter how hard I try, that one's not going in. It's a bit of a disappointment, really. Perhaps not unexpected, but still disappointing. Man, what a pain in the ass that is, because I don't know what I'm going to do now. I might have to drill it out or something, because it's just, there's no way these two are going to line up. There's just, we have a little slot, and the little attachment has to go through both holes, but the holes just don't line up, and no amount of pressure trying to push them together is making them line up. So actually I might have to take it apart and file a bit off the plastic. So, I mean, you know, this, I was so chuffed because this looked like a really quick build, but then you got to spend half an hour fixing stuff before you can even put it together. God, it's always a disappointment when you encounter this. It's the little things. That's what costs money, is making sure the little things are sorted. And in the case of this, certainly on this particular one, this little thing is not sorted. It's a pain in the ass. Okay, I can see the problem. This plastic piece here has been mounted too far into the wing, so it doesn't poke out far enough to line up with the hole in there. I mean, really, come on, surely they jig these things, and it's actually about, I don't know, 0.5 millimetre too far into the wing. So, never mind. I keep telling myself it's only a $130 wing. It's only a $130 wing. It'll take me $500 worth of time to put it together, but it's only a $130 wing. Sometime later, look, they're all in. What a pain in the ass that was. That was really not good at all. And I've noticed this on the front here. Notice how I said they weren't lining up very well. Look at the amount of movement in here. That's not good. That's not good. There's nothing. And I'm also noticing that there's quite a bit of flex in the wing. You can see the top there, the gap opens and closes. So, and also in the process of trying to get this in, I put other dings and crap in the wings. It's really annoying, quite frustrating. But okay, let's move on. Let's move on. We've got that far. And if I refer to my trusty instructions over here, I think we've got to glue the fins on now. Simple as that. Glue on the fins. And of course they provide the glue. Very nice. Thank you very much. And hopefully they provide the fins as well. They do. There you go. I'll glue them on. Yeah, I haven't glued them on yet. Unfortunately, they're not a good fit in the foam. You can't really tell when you've got them pushed right home. When you get them home at the front, they seem to pop out at the back. I mean, it's not the engineering on this is not very good. Oh, I wish I could say more positive things about this model, I really do, but it's, again, I'm going to have to do a bit of farting around to make sure that these are actually right home before I glue them, and that they stay there, because you don't want the fins coming off. And, you know, the angles even, I can't tell. No, they're not at the moment. So obviously one of them isn't actually seated properly. It's just, again, I mean, oh man, if the things had gone together, if it had been built in a way that was, you know, was everything fitted, then it would be such a fantastically quick build. I'd rush out and buy another one. But at the moment, I thought this would be a 10-minute build. I really did. I took it out of the box, thought, wow, great. I've been going on this thing for 40 minutes now, and I still, you know, I've got gaps in the wings, horrible gaps in the wings actually. I mean, that's just yucky. And I can't, these things here just do not fit in the slots properly. I shall continue. Tragedy again, the glue's dry. It's just about, you can hardly squeeze it out of the tube. It's old and crusty. Just as well I keep spare tubes of this stuff laying around, so don't rely on the glue that's in the package, people. Woohoo, fins on. Oh, we're coming up to an hour. Honestly, for such a quick build, it's taken a hell of a long time. But fins on, and what's next in the manual? Next step, oh, we're gonna put the wing fences on. There are some wing fences, and here they are in a bag. Let's put those on. I don't know if they're actually gonna do a hell of a lot, to be totally honest. But wing fences do delay the onset of tip stall by reducing the amount of span-wise airflow. And this is a tapered wing, so it's not uncommon for tapered wings to suffer some fairly nasty tip stalling characteristics. And you don't want that in the wing, because wings not having a tail way at the back can quite often be unstable. They can spin very easily. So eliminating the chance of a spin is quite important. So here we go. Here's the wing fences. They're quite frail, quite thin. And I think there must be, oh yeah, there's 2 sets of them. So I'll glue those on, and then we'll come back to you. Initially I thought there were left and right-handed wing fences, and they were cut differently because this cut here is on a bit of an angle to compensate. I thought it was to compensate for the sweep of the wing, the angle of the wing, but no, it just seems that They've just cut them on an angle because they're both the same, which is unfortunate. It would have been nice if they'd built in the sort of contour of the wing into the cut on the wing fence, but no, just a dodgy cut. Perhaps I should have actually checked first and sanded away a little bit of the foam, because that one is, the actual front here is getting pushed around by the sweep of the wing, so it's not perfectly straight. That's a bit of an annoyance. I might just use a pin in there, but I should have adjusted it so that it was a perfect fit. And again, if they'd actually cut the foam on the angle that I thought they had, then it wouldn't be an issue. The other one on the other side is just fine and dandy, because it does have the angle of the cut is actually right. It's just this one here, if you push it down, it's got the front tends to bow out this way, so just something to be a little cautious of when you're doing this bit. Just make sure you get it nice and straight. And hopefully you can focus on this. You might be able to see what I'm talking about, the angle of the cut. There you see the angle of this cut where this foam is cut. It's not at 90 degrees, so I thought, oh, that's to account for the sweep of the wing. But the other one, which would be for the other side of the wing, is cut square. So it's just bad quality control. I'll try and get it to make sure it's focused. Just bad quality control. Obviously, someone's cut one at an angle and the other one's cut square. Bugger. So this time I actually trimmed the front of this one, so it did have the right camber on it, and it's sitting nice and straight now. No problems at all. They do wobble a bit, but just its vertical seems to be all right as well. So just leaves the wing fence on the other side to do. Okay, so there we go. It's now an hour and 15 minutes after I opened the box, and ta-da! Look, here it is. The Go Discover from Hobby King, the plug and fly version. And am I happy? Of course I'm happy. Who wouldn't be? Look at all this for 130 bucks. Woohoo, that's not so bad. Let's look at the negatives first, shall we? And during the build, and you saw as I went through the build, I was getting pretty damn frustrated. In fact, I was almost going to have a cup of cocoa. I was that grumpy, because things that should have gone together smoothly just didn't go together smoothly, and that's so irritating. It should have been a 10-minute build, but it was an hour and 15 minutes, hour and 10 minutes. And why? Well, you know, these things here didn't line up because the thing in the wing was inserted at the wrong depth. The fins don't sit in the slots properly, so it was a pain in the ass to get them at the right angle and staying on. The glue was dried out. Why? It's in a plastic container, I notice now. They don't put them in the tin ones in plastic. Maybe the plastic doesn't seal as well. I don't know, but it was all dried out. I had to use some other glue. Even when you get it together, there's gaps in the wing there, and there's too much movement on this wing. This wing here in particular has actually got a lot of movement on it, and the leading edge can slide up and down against the fuselage, which could lead to flutter at high speed. I don't know whether it'll fly fast. Maybe it doesn't matter at all, but I don't see why it should do that. There's no reason. I mean, again, it's attention to detail. If they'd really spent a few more bucks, it would have been a really much better experience for the build. The wing fences, I had to actually sand away the front of the leading edge of the wing fence there to make sure they went on straight, because when you put them on a curved surface at an angle, it'll tend to push the front round if it doesn't line up perfectly. So I had to reshape the wing fences a little to get them to fit nicely. Then we've got the dome. Okay, now the dome, as it comes out of the box there, came out with crap on it, and it's slightly scratched. I mean, I'm really disappointed with that, because it didn't even have any a protective plastic film on it that you peel off, like you do with your LCD displays and other bits and pieces. Even your transmitter, your cheap old 10-energy transmitter comes with a little plastic film, so that when you get it, that LCD is all perfectly new and shiny. This, now just sitting in the box, so it's got some scratches. They look like may have been, popped out of the injection molding machine, thrown across the room into a cardboard box with 20 other of them, and it's got dings and dents and scratches. That's really bad. That's not good, because this is the window for FPV. If this is scratched, as soon as you notice that scratch, you'll always be drawn to it. You think, oh damn, look at that scratch. And I would have thought, I mean really, what are these worth? A couple of bucks? At a manufacturing level, 50 cents? Would it have hurt them to put a spare one in the box? Because sure enough, these are going to get, if they're not scratched out of the box, they're going to get scratched pretty soon, because, coming even a slightly nose down landing on a rough surface, scratch, knock, ding, bang, and there you go. You've buggered your dome. So why not throw a spare in the box? Come on, really, who's that tight that they can't afford to put a spare of a critical element like this in the box? I mean, that's probably the biggest disappointment, to be honest. I'd love to have seen a spare dome in there, but they didn't put it in. Even this plastic around here, it doesn't actually fit. It's all bloody, it doesn't fit very well. It doesn't exude quality, it exudes cheapy. This black, this one, it's a big gap here. No, that's really awful. That can't be right. Surely they haven't put it together properly. I don't know. I'll look closely at that. It's a big gap in here. It's awful. And it's got scratches and dings too. To be honest, I would have thought this was an ex-demo model when I got it, because of all the dents in the foam, scratch on the dome, scratches on the black plastic. but it's 130 bucks. So who cares? It's cheap, and it'll probably fly really well because it really just feels nice. But there we go. I hope this has helped you. If you're thinking of buying one of these, give you a little bit of a heads up on what you're going to encounter when you open the box and when you put it together. So what I'm going to do now, of course, is throw in the radio gear through this cavernous opening here. Plenty of space in there. Look at that. You could probably put a small child and a puppy in there. They have a lot of fun together. So I'm going to put the radio gear in, put flight controller in, choose a decent sized battery. I think I got some the other day for that. What did I get? If I look down here, I've got a 4,000 milliamp 4 cell. Yeah, that's 4 cells, yep. A couple of those perhaps. Because it is a 4 cell machine, I don't think you'd want to run it on 3 cells. The motor is too low a kV and the prop is quite small. So you'd want to go with a 4 cell setup, and I'll throw some, I've got various batteries to try out different stuff. I've got several flight controllers to test out, so we'll test them in sequence in both this and the RVJet. Now I will be assembling the RVJet as well. I suspect that video will be a little bit longer than this because the RVJet doesn't come, with the servos installed and everything. It's more of a builder's plane. But I'm thinking that based on what I've seen of looking in the box and what I've seen building this, I think the RVJet will be a much smoother build. Not so much work having to faff around fixing stuff before you can actually put it together. But who knows? Wait and see. So there you go. I hope you have found this video to be beneficial. If you're buying one of these, I hope it's helped. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up because then other people will find it. And if you've got questions, stick them on the bottom of this video. If I've done something wrong, if you say, oh no, that's not the way you do it, you've stuffed that up, then tell me. I'm not perfect. And stay tuned for the flight videos. As soon as my exemption comes through, that's the first thing I'll be doing, is getting all these things in the air and doing the comparisons. If you want to see anything in particular with the RVJet when I put it together, then put it on the bottom of this video and I'll make sure that when I do the RVJet build, I pay attention to that so you can see what I'm doing. There you go. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned. And now it's back to the bench.